Hey guys, it's been a really long time since I did my last tutorial, and I apologize for that. I've been really busy with college applications and everything, but here I am with my second C++ tutorial, and in this tutorial I'll be covering how to do variables and some of the data types that are available to you in the C++ language. So let's have a look at some of these. There are essentially 8 fundamental data types in C++. That'd be char, short int, or you can just say short, int, long int, or just long, bool, float, double, and then long double. Now, I'll go through each one of these. Character is basically what it is. It's a character, or a really small integer. So char is generally used for the ASCII, and then int. This is probably one of the most commonly used data types. Int is integer, obviously, and it has a range. And you can also have signed or unsigned. So if you put in front of these any of these, signed or unsigned, in front of any of these four, unsigned means that it has to be a positive number. So if you notice that the range always starts from 0 for unsigned, and for signed it always starts from a really large negative number. So that's one thing you can do. So integer, long integer is basically the same thing. Bool is a very, very important data type in C++, because bool can evaluate to only 2 values. That's true or false. And that goes back to the whole processor and how transistors can be of high voltage or low voltage, so like 1 or 0. So that's why a bool is such an important data type. Now float and double, they're floating point numbers, and that just means that they can have decimal points. So they can have decimal values like 3.6 or anything like that. So integer can't do that. If you try and set an integer to 3.6, it'll truncate. And what that means is it'll take whatever's after the decimal point, it'll just get rid of. So 3.6 will just become 3. So if you want something that has decimal values, then you want to use either float or double. Now, float is precise up until about 7 digits, and double is precise till 15 digits. So depending on how precise you want your numbers, you should choose accordingly. And then there's also another data type, which is not a fundamental data type. It's called string, and I'll go over that in a second. But for now, let's just try out some of the basic data types. So this is how the syntax works for it. You say int, then you give it a name. We'll just call it a, semicolon. Remember, every statement in C++ must end with a semicolon. So now I can give a value. So a, let's give it the value of 8. And now, if I want, I can print that out to the console. And if you remember from the last tutorial, you just do that. So instead of putting hello world here, I just put a, the name of this variable. And now if I run it, I just press Ctrl F5. It just prints out the value of 8. Now, if I want, I can make another variable called b, and set b equal to 3. Here I can say print a plus b, and that should come out as 11. A plus 3 makes sense. Then we have floats. And now notice how I declared it in one line and assigned it in another. You can actually combine those and do it in the same line. So I can say float c equals 2.5, then semicolon. So instead of doing this, I can do this and save space, because it wastes a lot of space to do this. So now I can say a plus b, or instead of a plus b, I can just put c there, and then that prints out the value of 2.5. And then it would be the same thing as if I did double. Same idea. Now, char. So I can say char d equals, now the notation for char is a single quote, so I can put any letter in here, like z, and then print that out. And it'll print out, oops, I wanted to debug, there we go. That prints out z. That's how char works. So that's basically how the basic data types work. And if I want, I can also do this. So I have b here, I can say b equals a plus 3. And like before, now I can just print out b, and a is 8, b is a plus 3, so b should become 11 when I run it. Now, I mean, I don't have to do just addition, so I can say b equals, now I could say b equals b times 6. So what I'm saying here is b, the value of b times 6 is being assigned to the value to b, to the variable b. And 11 times 6 is 66, so that makes sense. Now, let's say I wanted to add 1 to b. So I can say this, b equals b plus 1. There's actually an easier way to do this. There's a shorthand notation called plus equals 1. And what that means is you take whatever the value of b is, you add this number to the right, and then you assign that number to b. So b plus equals 1 would print out 12, because it's adding 1, then assigning that to b. And actually there's even a shorter notation when you're adding just 1. It's just b plus plus. And that does the exact same thing. And there's also a b minus minus. So that would give out 10. Now, I can also do like this, equals 3.0 divided by 2.0. Oh, didn't give it a name. That would be helpful. And that should give, oh, I never print out d. Oops. 1.5. Now there are other operators in C++ that you can use. There's something called the modulus operator. So I can do this. Ready? Watch. A mod b. So the modulus sign is the percent sign, and what that does is that returns the remainder of this number. So 8 mod 3 would give you 2, because it goes into 8 2 times, so that's 6 with a remainder of 2 left over. So if I run this, it'll give 2. And the modulus operator comes in handy in many different situations, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, string. String, I'll quickly go over string, I don't have much time left. But string isn't a built-in data type, so what you have to do is you have to include it the same way you included IOStream, you include string. Then you can say string s equals hello world. Then I can print out s here if I wanted. And that's essentially how data types work. Now, I can add stuff to this s by using the plus equals, because the plus equals operator is overloaded for the string class. And that might not make much sense to you now, but I'll explain that in a later tutorial when I talk about classes and operator overloading. And if you can see, then here I have 1 exclamation point, then I added 3 more. So now there's 4 exclamation points. And that's pretty much it. That wraps up this tutorial. Thanks for watching.